So now that we've gone through all of that introduction, it should be fairly easy to explain what a polynomial is and some of the vocabulary associated with that. Now, when you're learning math, it's really important to learn the vocabulary that goes along with it, because we have very specific definitions for almost everything. And there's nothing that will make you more nervous than seeing a question on a test where you kind of sort of know what the word means, but not really, because if a math question is only one sentence long, it's not like a novel. You can't go to the context to look up what that answer should be. So having a really good understanding of exactly what the words mean means that as you're reading questions, you can relax because you will basically know exactly what you're supposed to do. So after a long wait, here's what a polynomial is. So before, we looked at what happened if you took a bunch of stuff and you multiplied it together. So something like this. And you can multiply those together. That's easy. So anything that you lump together like this with multiplication, this is what's known as a term. And a term can be something fancy like this, and a term could be something as simple as just an x by itself, or even a number by itself like minus 7.5. So as far as what a term can be, there's a lot of flexibility. And if you have one term by itself, that is a monomial. Oops. And the prefix mono means one. So let's say if I had two terms together. Now, if I multiplied two things together, they would become a single term. So when I say put two terms together, I really mean they have to be added together. So something like 3x plus 5y. And because you learned that x and y are not like terms, there is no smaller, more condensed version that this squishes down into. So this would be a binomial. And remember, the prefix bi means two, okay? And so if I put, say, plus 4, because that's a different non-like term, that would then become a trinomial, and so on and so on. Now, once we run out of mono, bi, and tri, the extra prefixes are a little obscure. Nobody really knows them. So if I had to go, I would have monomial, binomial, trinomial, and after that, I would just give up on the English and I would just say a 4-nomial and a 5-nomial. They're just, we don't have words that go all the way up, and even if we did, I'm sure they're out there somewhere, they're not worth memorizing. Now, if I take this just generic collection of things, any one of those could be a polynomial. Okay? And remember, the prefix poly means multiple or many. Okay? So a monomial is also a kind of polynomial. A trinomial is a kind of polynomial, but a binomial is different from a trinomial. It's sort of in a hierarchy, in a structure like that. The only thing you have to be just a tiny bit careful of is that if there's work to be done, so say if I had something like this, let's actually get a pen. Okay. That looks like a binomial because there's two things, but really you know, because you know collecting like terms, you're supposed to put those together. So that was really a monomial in disguise. So if you have things that, expressions that you aren't done simplifying, then trying to label them as monomial, binomial, trinomial doesn't make very much sense. And I mean, that's all there is to it. So You can put them together. So for example, this would be a monomial multiplying. So this you would call this a monomial multiplying a binomial. And then let's see what we get. Okay, so when I multiplied that, I got another binomial. And you just go through and you apply the vocabulary, but it's nice to know exactly what it means so that you're not looking at that and just going, should I know what that means? And really simple. We're going to look at another concept closely related to this in the next video. And again, you're going to think, this is not difficult. It's just useful for reading and writing tests that I can know what people are talking about.